Welcome, everybody, to our chapel session this Wednesday. We thank you all so much for coming. Today we're going to start, and we just ask that you join us in worship as we ask God to be the lamp unto our feet and the light unto our path today. Be my strength, my strength, oh God. Be my strength, my strength, oh God. Come on, let's sing that again. Be my strength, my strength, oh God. Be my strength, my strength, oh God. Say, Father, light the way. Be my present help. You're my God. You're my God. Say, be my peace. Be my peace, my peace, oh God. Be my peace, my peace, oh God. Say, Father, light the way. Be my present help. You're my God. You're my God. Say, you're my God. And I'm overwhelmed. Lead me through the rock. You're my God. 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 And I will worship you always. I will worship you always. I will worship you always. You're my God. Say, I will worship you. I will worship you always.
Thank you, Josh, for leading us through our first song today. We really do pray that God would be our peace during this time. I want to welcome you all to chapel. It is an absolute joy to be able to worship with you every week. And I really look forward to this time with you. Even though we are apart, we are together, at least during this time that we get to share. So if you haven't already grabbed a candle somewhere near you, if you can get that right now, that would be really great. Put it somewhere that we can see you. So when we look at the myriad of faces around us, we see each other lighting the candles, and it's on the screen. It's a shared ritual that we get to do every week. As you know, we are in the midst of Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month. And if you didn't know about the PBS special that's been going on, sharing with us some parts of our very, very complicated history in America, it would be a great educational tool, a way to get a glimpse of our story. It's on pbs.org, and it just goes through many, many stories of Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders. It doesn't obviously cover everything, because what it would be like hours long if we had to try to do that. But it does, thankfully, it's able to show the myriad of different stories that cascade across our history with America, and it's very complicated. One thing I will share, and it relates to what we're going to do today, we're going to take you in a journey through the seasons. And by that, I mean, we're going to see moments of winter, spring, looking ahead at summer, looking back at fall. These seasons indicate to us that our lives are cyclical, that God moves us round and round. There needs to be loss in order for us to see new life and gain. And there needs to be times where things are abundant, and things where we are scarce and we have to come into deep rooted dependence on God. These are all really important moments in our human experience with God. And if you've ever done like a labyrinth and walked it, it takes you to the center and it takes you back out. And that always reminds me of the kind of seasons that we go through in our lives. Sometimes we feel immensely close and intimate with our God, and other times we feel we're distant and we can't hear God, or he doesn't seem near or close. Those are all experiences we have as people of God. And I think they're really important moments to count. Asian Americans, we also have a complicated history with the US, in that in moments in our history, we are the model minority where we feel like we might be accepted as Americans. And then moments later, we are yellow peril. We are perpetual foreigners. We're asked to leave this country, even if we were born here. We go through these cycles in this place. And so our history is immensely complicated. And in those moments, we have to be reminded of a God that is with us always and knows those seasons very well and journeys with us through them, and secures our identity as children of God, as people of God, especially during the times when, like now, during COVID-19, when our faces, this face is a dangerous face. So we ask that you would continue to pray with us during this time and journey with us during our service today, where we go through the different seasons. And I hope that will open up different things in your heart. So as we embark on the journey together, let's light the candle as a marker of starting together. You can grab your candles, and a way to light it, let's light it together. Oh God, be with us as we embark. Let's continue in worship.
Psalm 84, 1 through 8. How lovely is your dwelling place, O Lord of hosts. My soul longs, indeed it faints, for the courts of the Lord. My heart and my flesh sing for joy to the living God. Even the sparrow finds a home, and the swallow a nest for herself, where she may lay her young at your altars, O Lord of hosts, my King and my God. Happy are those who live in your house, ever singing your praise. Happy are those whose strength is in you, in whose heart are the highways to Zion. As they go through the valley of Baca, they make it a place of springs. The early rain also covers it with pools. They go from strength to strength. The God of gods will be seen in Zion. O Lord God of hosts, hear my prayer. Give ear, O God of Jacob. The word of the Lord.
In this next song that we're going to sing, there's a part that says, God, step by step, you lead us. And I know for me, and probably for a lot of us, that feels like all we can manage right now, one step at a time, one day at a time. So as you join me in singing, I pray that this song lifts your spirit and makes you aware that God hears us, He's with us, and He is really guiding us. Oh God, you are our God, and we will ever praise you. Oh God, you are our God, and we will ever praise you. May our prayers like incense rise before you, the lifting of our hands a sacrifice. Oh Lord Jesus, turn your eyes upon us, for we know there is mercy in your sight. Your statutes are our heritage forever. Our hearts are set on keeping your decrees. Please still our anxious urge toward rebellion, and let love keep our will upon its knees. Oh God, oh God, you are our God, and we will ever praise you. Oh God, you are our God, and we will ever praise you. To all creation we can see the limit, but your commands are boundless and have none. So words are joy and meditation, from the rising to the setting of the sun. All your ways are loving and are faithful. Your road is narrow, but your burden light, because you gladly lean to lead the humble. We shall gladly kneel to leave our pride. Oh God, you are our God, and we will ever praise you. Oh God, you are our seek you in the morning, and we will learn to walk in your ways. Step by step, you lead us, and we will follow you all of our days.
God of all seasons, we pause and recognize the ways in which our lives have been upended. We acknowledge our desperation and our need for you. As autumn turns to winter, colors drain and life begins to slow down. As our days get shorter, our nights get longer. In winter, things that were alive die in the bitter, cold air. Time slows as we learn to wait in the troubled stillness of uncertainty. Teach us in our winter times to draw near to you as you make us aware of the things that we hold on to. Help us to let go and let die all things that prevent us from utter dependence on you. Be with us as we journey forward in the midst of disruption and death. Be with us as we are confronted, challenged, and transformed. Those who put their trust in you are truly happy. Pilgrimage is in their hearts. Amen.
In 2012, on the eve of when I was to start my Doctor of Ministry program at Northern Seminary, I was in a town called Lombard, about 45 minutes west of Chicago. And I didn't know a soul. I didn't know who my classmates were going to be. I hadn't yet met my professors. All I remember was looking into the bathroom mirror in my hotel room and saying out loud, "Oh my God, where am I? And what am I doing here?" I was so certain I had made a terrible, terrible mistake. All of us are hoping to get somewhere. We hope that our lives will return to some semblance of normal after the pandemic, that things will get better for our families eventually, that we will finally arrive at the place we've worked so hard to get to. And we will, God willing. But most of us, if we're honest, we know that life is lived somewhere in between, in the uncomfortable uncertainty, in existential crises, in the constant longing. Instead of Zion, we find ourselves in Lombard. And that's why I'm drawn to Psalm 84. On one hand, it's a Zion psalm. It's a destination song. But the psalm is deceiving. It's like a fast, bright melody obscuring some darker lyrics underneath. It's a song of pilgrimage, a psalm of lament, a hymn of in-between. But ultimately, it's a psalm of trust. The psalm is not written for people who could walk to the temple every day. Rather, it was written for those who didn't live in Jerusalem, but who had to make the arduous journey, sometimes through perilous places, to attend the festivals at the temple, where God's presence was thought to reside. It's safe to assume the psalmist here had been to the temple before, maybe many times. And that's why the psalmist could proclaim, "Better is one day in the temple than 1,000 elsewhere." But at the moment, the psalmist is not at the temple. He is elsewhere. Even the birds who find a permanent home in the temple become an object of envy. In the first third of the psalm, it's all this longing to be somewhere else in the future at the temple someday. But then something rather unexpected happens. Structurally, it shows up right smack dab in the middle of the psalm. Happy are those whose heart are the highways to Zion. As they go through the valley of AAPI, they make it a place of springs. The early rain covers it with pools. Now, up to this point in the psalm, we are led to believe that it is the temple where we must go to meet God. But the psalmist makes a startling declaration that the temple is not the only place God will meet us. That God's presence is not confined to the temple. That God's blessing can also be found away from there, along the way, in the unexpected places where we spend most of our days. The Valley of AAPI likely means the place of weeping. It's a place of distress, a place of hardship. The valley was known to be the place where you might be attacked, heading to or from Jerusalem, or where the Philistines might raid your crops, or where you might be exposed and vulnerable to the elements. But even here in the Valley of Weeping, God will grant the rain to God's people to nourish and comfort them. It's as if the pools are these stepping stones so that they can travel from strength to strength. In the dry desert of AAPI, God will provide pools and streams to transform the soil for God's people so that something new and beautiful can grow, even there. Certainly, it is God's grace that brings the rain, that makes the pools and streams possible. But what I find interesting is that the psalmist says, they will make it a place of springs, the they referring to the pilgrimage community. It's a reminder that we have agency too, that it is as much a mindset and attitude as it is a recognition of our circumstances. About a year before my mom passed away, I was fortunate enough to accompany her and my uncle and aunt on a pilgrimage to Poston, Arizona, to the site where they were incarcerated during World War II. Growing up, my mom would tell me about the train ride from Los Angeles to Arizona with the window shades kept down by the US government so that the families wouldn't know where they were being taken to. And it was during these terrible years in the prison camps that the Japanese communities nevertheless created these spaces of amazing beauty, literally out of nothing. Exquisite gardens and ponds in the middle of the harsh desert. It was a small reminder of home when home had been so violently ripped from them. A sign of hope in the Valley of AAPI. Indeed, blessed are those who can make their deserts a place of springs. I'm not suggesting that we must turn every bad thing into a good thing, or that we locate the silver lining in every circumstance. But what I am suggesting, however, is keeping our eyes open, of being attentive to grace, to not miss the pools and streams of God's presence in the unlikeliest of places, and the willingness to be spring makers ourselves for the sake of others when that is needed too. I think of the poor and the vulnerable and the unemployed during this pandemic. I think of Asian and Asian Americans who are being yelled at and threatened and attacked and stabbed in COVID-19 related violence. I think of Ahmaud Arbery and his family, and of Black and brown people for whom in America, too many neighborhoods too often become a valley of weeping. For these may God's justice roll down like waters and righteousness like an ever-flowing stream. And may our churches and ministries be pools of refuge and springs of hope for the weary. In June of 2018, because of a disagreement in direction, I resigned from the church I had started and pastored for 20 years. I had planned to be there for the rest of my life. It was what I knew. It is where I belonged. It was my community. The Monday after my final day at the church, I went outside to walk the dog, and I was in a daze, like I'd been punched in the gut. And I remember thinking, where the hell am I? And what am I going to do now? I was completely lost. I wasn't sure who I was anymore. I took a sabbatical, and 3 months later, I found myself at Fuller Seminary as a chaplain. But I was very much still in transition. In that first year, I must have said to my chaplain colleague, Brenda Bertrand, every month, "What am I doing here, Brenda? I don't know what I'm doing here." But even then, despite myself, amid all the not knowing, amid all the feelings of uncertainty, God's grace met me like pools of water in the desert. I met so many wonderful people at Fuller that reminded me that God was indeed good and that God was with me. And I hope in some small way I have been able to offer a cup of cold water to a fellow weary traveler. So if you find yourself looking in the mirror during this particularly difficult time, wondering, where am I? What am I doing? Or where am I going? Know that the reflection you are seeing of yourself may not be coming from a mirror at all. It just may be that what you are seeing is your face reflecting back at you from the pools and streams of God's grace. God bless you and amen.
Psalm 84, 9 through 12. Behold our shield, O God. Look on the face of your anointed. For a day in your courts is better than 1,000 elsewhere. I would rather be a doorkeeper in the house of my God than live in the tents of wickedness. For the Lord God is a sun and shield. He bestows favor and honor. No good thing does the Lord withhold from those who walk uprightly. The word of the Lord.
We will be praying in unison at the end of this prayer, so we invite you to unmute yourself at that time, joining responsively in all. God of all seasons, although we may not be able to see through to our destination, we know that you pay close attention to us, leading us to something good. Spring presents to us new life, birth from what was dead in winter. This newness leads us to summer, a time to thrive and live in the abundance you provide. Lord, you are the sun and the shield. You are favor and glory. Help us to remember this when faced with unexpected challenges in our journey with you. Your silence is not your absence. Our feelings or lack of them do not determine your faithfulness. You are ever-present God, and you do not withhold good things from those who walk with integrity. You are God in our desperation.
We receive
Receive your grace.
You are God in our worry.
We
we receive your comfort.
Comfort.
You are long-suffering.
We receive your
Receive
patience.
your patience.
You are God of our journey.
We
We
receive
receive
all of your mercies. Amen.
And
Fuller community, as we sing one last song together, I just invite all of us to get into a posture of really receiving God's faithfulness over our lives. as Kevin exhorted us, that we may be able to discover, even as we sing in this very moment, those pools, those springs of water that we are desperate for. Let's sing, great is thy faithfulness. Great is thy faithfulness, O God, my Father. There is no shadow of turning with thee. Thou changest not, thy compassions, they fail not. As thou hast been, thou forever will be. Great is thy faithfulness. Great is thy faithfulness. Morning by morning, new mercies I see. All I have needed, thy hand hath provided. Great is thy faithfulness, Lord, unto me. Summer and winter and springtime and harvest, sun, moon, and stars in their courses above, joy with all nature in manifold witness to thy great faithfulness, mercy, and love. Great is thy faithfulness. Great is thy faithfulness. Morning by morning, new mercies I see. All I have needed, thy hand hath provided. Great is thy faithfulness, Lord, unto me. Pardon for sin and the peace that endureth, thy own dear presence to cheer and to guide, strength for today and bright hope for tomorrow. Blessings on mine with 10,000s beside. Great is thy faithfulness. Great is thy faithfulness. Morning by morning, new mercies I see. All I have needed, thy hand hath provided. Great is thy faithfulness, Lord, unto me. One last time we sing. Great is thy faithfulness. Great is thy faithfulness. Morning by morning, new mercies I see.
Now receive the blessing of the benediction. No matter what season you are in, no matter where you are in the journey, whether the heights of Zion or the valleys of AAPI, the Lord is with you. May you go and drink deeply from the pools and streams of God's grace. God bless you.
All right, as it is customary, we're going to turn off the candles together. But before we do, I would like to say that we have a special little Easter egg during Eastertide gift for you. That comes from a friend of mine named Isia Taimani. He is a Tongan American, and he is amongst one of the most invisible amongst Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders, actually. So we want to do our best to make Tongan Americans visible. They are artists, they are amazing, they're poets. And Isia is actually on right now. I'm going to put him on the spot. I saw his name on our participant list, and I'm hoping that he can unmute himself and tell us a little bit about the song that he wrote called Golden Kingdom. And I'm seeing if we can get him on to share. Hold on. Sorry, Isia, putting you on the spot. Here we go.
Hey, what's happening, y'all? Good morning to you. My name is Isia Taimani, and I am from the San Francisco Bay Area. And yeah, Julie, thank you. What an honor to be a part of your morning with all of you. The song is called Golden Kingdom, and it is absolutely my prodigal son journey, but not just spiritually, also culturally. Growing up in the San Francisco Bay Area, never feeling quite American enough, and at the same time, never feeling Tongan enough. And so this song is about that journey. And yeah, I actually collaborated with a really phenomenal poet named Micah Bornay, a dear friend of mine, to help me, share this journey with all of you. So yeah, thank you so much for giving me a few minutes to just be able to share my heart with all of you.
Thanks, Isia. Sorry to put you on the spot last minute like this, but we are so happy to be able to feature your music as a part of our Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month. So please stick around. I'm going to blow out the candle, and please stick around after to watch the video and really enjoy this beautiful piece of art. And I hope that it blesses you. And here's a little thing. If you don't know anything about Tongan Americans, it's the first time you're hearing of this wonderful group of people, go do some homework and do some research and learn. This is the way to love us. To love us well is to know us. So I really commission you today and charge you to go and learn a little bit more about our Pacific Islanders. All right, so as the last thing we do together in our service, let's blow out our candles and stick around for the video.
I just want to find my way back home. And I just want to find my way back home. And I just want to find my way back home. Find a place that I can call my own. These mistakes is killing me, willfully dropping my conscience for pleasure. Forgive me. I'm a wretch forever seeking for your healing, hoping that your grace is far more than just a feeling, but of seeing is believing. I've been living in the dark, man, wondering where you are so I can give you my heart, mind, and soul. The finish line I must stop, but it feels like I've been looking at all the wrong places. So I'm going up yonder to surrender to a face, and I hope that eyes can't see. Moving closer to home, infinity and beyond. Your touch can right on my wrongs, getting rid of what I want to find just what I need. Cause your love is enough, but not enough for my greed. But while trying to find the only thing that can set a man free, it was in my brokenness that your love found me. Yeah. And I just want to find my way back home. I just want to find my way back home. And I just want to find my way back home. And I just want to find my way back home. I spent my younger days trying to run away from home. Now I want the world to know the place where I come from. The ocean in my melody, the island in my strum. seem to leave the land that calls me son. The far away inside my name, the stranger in my gown, the doopin' around my waist, it makes my father proud. The things that used to bring me shame, I wear them like a crown. The home so far away from here is deep inside me now. I see it in my mother's eyes, I hear it in her tongue. I feel it when a stranger wants to know where I come from. There is a golden kingdom in a place you cannot see. There is a golden kingdom living deep inside of me. The praying hands before the feast, the hymns in mother tongue. Amazing grace I can't escape, though far fast I run. The hope I cannot seem to leave, the God who calls me son. The Savior and that rugged tree where my shame came to none. The doubts that live inside of me won't seem to go away. The doubts remind me that I believe, Lord, grow my humble faith. I won't wait till the pearly gates to walk the golden streets. I work and pray for peace on earth as in eternity. I see it in my mother's eyes, I hear it in her tongue. I feel it when a stranger wants to know where I come from. There is a golden kingdom in a place you cannot see. There is a golden kingdom living deep inside of me. I see it in my mother's eyes, I hear it in her tongue. I feel it when a stranger wants to know where I come from. There is a golden kingdom in a place you cannot see. There is a golden kingdom living deep inside of me. I just want to find my way back home. And I just want to find my way back home. And I just want to find my way back home. And I just want to find my way back home.
Amen.
Well, thank you so much for sticking around to see that. What a gift that is. What a beautiful thing that is. And I hope that you will support local artists like Isaiah and continue to buy some of his music and support him as he continues to make. As you know, we have coffee and conversation following this time of service. So stick around. We'll give you a couple minutes to go grab a cup of coffee, and we'll continue our conversations together for those of us who want to stick around. Thanks everyone for joining us in worship. We'll see you in a couple minutes.